didn't come from NASA, not from a military lab, not even from Silicon Valley. It came from a quiet corner of a university, and from a man most people had never heard of, Michael Levin. He uncovered something hidden inside you, something more powerful than your DNA, smarter than your brain, an invisible system that tells your body what to build, what to fix, and when to stop being human.
Here, what you're seeing is that these cells are coalescing together. Now they're starting to have conversations about what they are going to do. You can see here the flashes are these exchanges of information. Keep in mind, this is just skin. There is no nervous system. There is no brain. This is just skin. This is skin that has learned to make a new body and to explore its environment and move around.
He didn't just discover it. He learned how to control it. And once you understand what that means, you'll never look at your body the same way again. Long before Michael Levin ever touched a microscope, the universe was already whispering strange secrets through biology. You just had to know where to look. And for decades, scientists did look, only to quietly look away when the answers made too little sense. That's because what they found didn't follow the rules. In fact, broke them.
Yeah, it is an incredible process. I think it's maybe the most magical process there is.
You'd think biology would be the one field where everything follows the rules. Cells obey DNA, brains store memories, organs develop the way they're coded to. That's what we're taught, that life is mechanical, predictable. But Michael Levin saw something that shattered all of that. It started with worms. Not exotic creatures, just planarians, simple flatworms known for their freakish ability to regenerate.
And the amazing thing about these planaria is that they are highly, highly regenerative. So if you cut it into pieces, in fact, over 200 pieces, every piece will rebuild exactly what's needed to make a perfect little worm.
Levin and colleague Giovanni Pizzulo decapitated them, clean cut, brains gone, and yet, when their heads grew back, the worms still remembered the tasks they'd learned before. It stunned even seasoned biologists. Memories were supposed to live in the brain. But these creatures, headless, brainless, had held on to something that had no business surviving. Then it got even stranger. Levin's lab began experimenting on frog embryos.
Actually, a few years ago, we found a pretty amazing phenomenon, which is that if you make so-called Picasso frogs, so these are tadpoles where the jaws might be off to the side, the eyes are up here, the nostrils are moved, so everything is shifted. These tadpoles make largely normal frog faces. Now this is amazing because all of the organs start off in abnormal positions, and yet they still end up making a pretty good frog face.
According to genetics, these embryos should have developed into deformed messes, but they didn't. The features moved, rearranged. Slowly, almost deliberately, the tadpoles corrected themselves. The eyes migrated back to where they belonged, the faces reassembled into normal frogs, without any commands or updated code, just cells solving problems on their own.
So what it turns out is that this system, like many living systems, is not a hardwired set of movements, but actually works to reduce the error between what's going on now and what it knows is a correct frog face configuration. This kind of decision-making that involves flexible responses to new circumstances, in other contexts, we would call this intelligence.
And that's when the rules cracked, because these cells weren't just following genetic orders, they were improvising, collaborating, acting like a team of engineers trying to fix a blueprint that had been torn apart. It wasn't instinct, but it wasn't chance either. It was intelligence, but without a brain. It was as if something was coordinating all of it. One that didn't need neurons, one that didn't wait for permission from DNA. So Levin kept going. And what he uncovered next didn't just raise eyebrows, it forced scientists to rethink the very core of life. Everyone thought DNA was the master control panel, but Levin discovered something even more powerful working beneath it. A second layer, a hidden system. He found that cells weren't just talking through chemicals or genes, they were communicating through bioelectricity, tiny voltage gradients that ripple across tissues like a silent conversation.
So it turns out that all cells, not just nerves, but all cells in your body communicate with each other using electrical signals. And what you're seeing here is a time-lapse video. For the first time, we are now able to eavesdrop on all of the electrical conversations that the cells are having with each other. So think about this. We're now watching, this is an early frog embryo. This is about 8 hours to 10 hours of development. And the colors are showing you actual electrical states that allows you to see all of the electrical software that's running on the genome-defined cellular hardware.
Every cell, even those with no brain, uses this electrical language. And they're not just chatting for fun. These signals carry precise instructions. Where a limb should grow, how many fingers to make, what shape the spine should take. It's a biological GPS, mapping out structure, position, even symmetry. Levin then took it further. He reprogrammed the voltage pattern in a tadpole's tail. What happened next? An eye began to grow. Not just a lump of tissue, but a fully formed functional eye complete with retina, lens, and optic nerve. And the body accepted it, as if it had always belonged there. That was the moment things changed. Because if electricity can tell a cell to build an eye, what else can it build? What else can we command it to do? What role does our DNA play in it?
Think about the fact that what DNA encodes is the hardware of life. DNA contains the instructions for the kind of micro-level hardware that every cell gets to play with. So all the proteins, all the signaling factors, the ion channels, all the cool little pieces of hardware that cells have, that's what's in the DNA. The rest of it is in so-called generic laws. And these are laws of mathematics, these are laws of computation, these are laws of physics, of all kinds of interesting things that are not directly in the DNA.
According to Levin, the instructions aren't in the DNA. They're in the code that runs the DNA. And once Levin cracked that code, the question was no longer what life could do, but what we could make it do. And then Levin took it to a level no one expected. He stopped just observing life and started building it. Working with computer scientist Josh Bongard, Levin helped create something called xenobots, tiny living machines made entirely from frog skin and heart cells. No brains, wires, or software, just living tissue rearranged into forms nature had never seen before. And yet, these creations walked. They swam. They even pushed tiny objects around. In some experiments, they began to self-replicate, gathering loose cells and assembling a new version of themselves. A 2020 study published in PNAS confirmed it. Life had just stepped into a new category. Then they became the anthrobots. Levin's team at Tufts took human airway cells from adult donors, ordinary mature cells, and gave them a new environment nature never intended to. What happened next caught everyone off guard. These weren't stem cells, they weren't embryos, they were mature, specialized cells that should have known their role. But instead of staying in line, they began to self-organize into moving, healing structures. In early 2024 pilot trials, they were shown to help repair damaged neural tissue in petri dishes, forming bridges across gaps like a biological construction crew. No commands were issued, no blueprints were handed down. The cells simply responded to something else, as if they were just listening to a new kind of instruction.
So where's that top-down signal that does the control coming from? Like, how can you find it?
Yeah.
Like, why does it stop growing? How does it know the shape? How does it have memory of the shape? And how does it tell everybody to be like, whoa, slow down, we're done? So
the first thing to think about, I think, is that there are no examples anywhere of a central dictator, because in this kind of science, because everything is made of parts. And so we even though we feel as a unified central sort of intelligence and kind of point of cognition, we are a bag of neurons, right? All intelligence is collective intelligence. There's no such thing as this like indivisible diamond of intelligence that's like this one central thing that's not made of parts. We are all made of parts. If you believe, which I think is hard to get around, that we in fact have a centralized set of goals and preferences, and we plan and we do things and so on, you are already committed to the fact that a collection of cells is able to do this, because we are a collection of cells. There's no getting around that.
And this wasn't theoretical. In controlled studies, Levin's techniques have guided limb regeneration in animals, restored injured tissue, and even triggered reversal of tumor growth. Without any scalpels or chemical treatments, just precision manipulation of the hidden bioelectric software that tells cells what to become. This is a new power, a way to design biology from the inside out. And for the first time, we're not just editing genes, we're sending messages to life itself, and it's responding.
They have no age limit, and they're telling us that if we crack the secret of regeneration, which is not only growing new cells, but knowing when to stop. You see, this is absolutely crucial. If you can continue to exert this really profound control over the three-dimensional structures that the cells are working towards, you could defeat aging as well as traumatic injury and things like this.
But wait, this is where things start to get uncomfortable. Because if Levin is right, then everything we believed about the mind, the body, and even ourselves might be incomplete. See, we like to think we're in charge, that our brain is the control center, and our consciousness sits neatly behind our eyes like a pilot flying a machine. But what Levin's work suggests is something different. Your body might be more like a swarm, millions of intelligent decision-making agents working together, not following orders from your brain, but solving problems locally, moment by moment. Cells that remember where an eye should go, or how to build a frog even when the blueprint is scrambled. So what if the mind isn't locked inside the brain? What if it's something distributed, something woven into every part of you? It's a possibility that challenges everything we believed about identity, memory, and the soul. Because if DNA is just the hardware, then this hidden intelligence, the thing guiding your healing, your development, your survival, might be the real operating system. Then the real question is, what exactly are we?